of Jonesboro.
Are you paying too much for your Medicare Part D prescriptions? At Walgreens, that's a question you won't have to ask. As a preferred pharmacy with many plans nationwide, Walgreens offers copays as low as $0 on select plans. So switching your prescriptions to Walgreens will be worth the trip. Millions of people have Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy in their network, so you could be saving big. Switch your prescriptions and start saving today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. $0 copays apply to Tier 1 generics.
Tri-City Sports Now. How about an XFL team in BMS? I mean, say we don't know. I kind of doubt they'll draw 150,000 fans. I'm going to be really impressed with the market. Imagine if you did have an XFL team. Let's just go with this. Why not? I'm Marky Billson here. I want you to think more cosmopolitan here in the Tri-Cities. Let's just go with the XFL at BMS, as absurd as that may seem to people. But can you imagine if they started drawing, let's say, 100,000 fans, like they really marketed it well. Meanwhile, the spring race, is drawing their 60,000 or so. Can you imagine that? What would that mean? All right. There's the theory right now. But yeah, Vince McMahon, I saw the press conference. I thought he came off real well. And I mean, let's face it, Vince McMahon, Vince McMahon is a guy who once openly talked about, I wanted to hit Bob Costas. What a well-adjusted man you are. Yeah. Did anybody read the old Howard Cosell book, I Never Played the Game? And McMahon actually, Cosell talks about this. And it was maybe the highlight of the book where he had actually, when Cosell's career was winding down and all this, and he contacted him and said, I would like you to call my wrestling. And Cosell was like, there's no way in the world I'm doing that, And the phone conversation went from, you should think about it. And Cosell, who was, about to go into retirement and, just obviously could not, fathom such a, it was like, I don't even have to think about it. I'm not interested, And the line on the phone, McMahon then began to attack Cosell with profanity. And started screaming, wrestling will be king, and all this. And Cosell just went, that may be, and I wish you all the success in the world. While McMahon is literally, cussing at Cosell because he won't consider calling, as he said, phony wrestling matches. Why would I'm a journalist. Why would I want to do this? That would be so beneath me. And, I agree with Cosell there. But the XFL, this one, gotta understand this. This is not going to be the old XFL. And, this is what McMahon had to say in his press conference yesterday.
This may be the last you see of me in terms of being out front. I don't tend to be out in front. We're going to hire people who really know what they're doing, experienced executives who will be out in front. It won't be me.
Well, that's good. So we won't have Jim Ross and Jim Lawler calling the games. That's one of the things he said. He also said that he wants to reimagine football. And one of the things that I said, this could work, was when he talked about, let's have the games over in 2 hours. That's big. I'm the guy who talks about college football has become, in my opinion, really somewhat unwatchable because it is taking so long to play the games. And if the XFL can be over, and why is soccer having this, boon in this country? And I think one of the reasons why is that the game is going to be over in 2 hours. And as much as I love baseball, those games are taking longer than ever before. And that's killing baseball. Anyway, McMahon's saying, there's got to be a time frame here. Let's get these games 2 hours. He wants to reimagine the game of football.
Yeah, if you could reimagine the game of professional football, would you, for instance, eliminate halftime? Would you have fewer commercial breaks? Would the game of football be faster? Would the rules be simpler? The new XFL will be fan-centric, with all the things you like to see and less of the things you don't. And no doubt, a lot of innovations along the way.
Didn't announce where the teams would be. I know there was one reporter from my hometown, former hometown of Pittsburgh, John Shumway. I know who he is, and they said, "Well, what about team in Pittsburgh?" And McMahon was like, "Oh, I love Pittsburgh," but he wasn't going to be committal. The one thing that could kill this is that apparently this new sports league that is it's going to be the XFL, and this is going to be big too. There will not be a crossover with WWE, and that's huge.
There will be no crossover whatsoever in terms of talent or anything like that from WWE to the UXFL.
Now, McMahon, he'll own the company, but he's actually sold $100 million worth of stock in the WWE to fund this project, and he's creating a new company so it'll be independent of WWE called Alpha Entertainment, and that is big. And he's talking about, players must stand for the national anthem. Good. No thugs. This is, that is tremendously, different from the WWE. Let's face it. He's even saying if you had a DUI, you are not going to play in my league. And there was some talk about, what about Johnny Manziel? Would he play? Well, evidently not, if that's the standard. So, evidently Manziel is still going to have to live off the $8 million he earned from the Cleveland Browns. And anyway, we hope he doesn't go through it. But he also says, the XFL, you had all that, hard-hitting football. Remember, they didn't even have a coin toss. You threw a football down and two players ran after it, and the first time they did this, one of the players separated their shoulder and was out for the year. Remember? So they're going to do away with that. And he understands football's got to be safer. Okay, here's the thing. Here we go.
Our approach to presenting games will be multi-platform, which will allow us to engage fans and customize the viewing experience in ways that were never imaginable just a few years ago. You'll be able to watch the XFL on big screens, mobile devices, and everything in between.
I like it. Hey, that's why we put this show up on Facebook Live on our Facebook page, right? But let me just throw this idea out to you here now. Ways the new XFL could make it. I like what I'm hearing right now. And, no halftime? Yeah, that's a good idea. The old XFL did give us something. They gave us the camera angles, the sort of on-the-field angles, and we're now seeing, a lot of time. I don't know if the NFL is ready to put cameramen on the field like the XFL did, but they were willing to do something where you got the angles like you see in Madden. And now that's more commonplace. That really started in the XFL. And the Madden football game. You know what I'm talking, video games. And that was the XFL. Now, this new XFL, I'm not going to have, naked cheerleaders day. They want to get away from that. Okay, well, I won't comment any further on a potential naked cheerleaders day. I don't want to get in trouble. But the circumstance here would be that I think that, and I said this, people are down on the NFL. There could be an avenue for the XFL. I really and truly believe that. Here are the only three things I think that'll keep it back, and they are pretty big. One is that they're going to start with 8 teams, and I think that you have to start with 8 teams. You got to start slow. You can't just put 32 teams out there, do head-to-head. No, that's not going to work. But that means your footprint is going to be smaller than the NFL, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to compete. Number 2, they're talking about the league owning the franchises. That never works. When I see it, in fact, when teams start to lose at the end, they start making bad deals and all that. That's a bad scene if the league is going to own the teams. Trust me on that. And there isn't real significant local ownership then to make sure that the team stays. and that the team wins. And the third is just, what's the level of talent? Are they going to go after the top players coming out of college and the free agents like the USFL did? If they do, maybe that'll be good. Otherwise, if it's the old XFL talent, going to be tough.